The Aston Martin DBS is a GT car produced by the British manufacturer Aston Martin Lagonda Limited from 1967 to 1972. The DBS was featured in the 1969 James Bond film on Her Majesty's Secret Service. A new version, based heavily on the Aston Martin DB9, is featured in the 2006 film Casino Royale and the 2008 film Quantum of Solace. DBS. The DBS was intended as the successor to the Aston Martin DB6, although the two ran concurrently for 3 years. Powered by a straight-six engine, it was produced from 1967 until 1972, eventually being phased out in favor of the Aston Martin V8. It was a larger coupe copyright than the DB6, with 4 full-sized seats, but was powered by the same 4.0L engine as the previous car. Claimed engine output was 282 bhp, but a no-cost Vantage engine option used Italian-made Weber carburetors, increasing output to an advertised 325 bhp. The DBS was intended to have a more modern look than the previous series of Aston models, and it incorporated a fastback-style rear end and squared-off front grille, atypical of Astons at the time, but very much then in vogue in automotive design circles of the late 60s. Trademark Aston design features, such as a bonnet scoop, knock-off wire wheels, and side air vents with stainless steel brightwork were however retained. The DBS was the last Aston Martin to be built under David Brown's control. Specifications weight, 3,760 pounds, engine, 4.0L DOHC straight-six, power, 283 bhp at 5,500 rpms, torque, 390.5 Nm at 3,850 rpms. DBS V8. In September 1969, the DBS was made available with a 5340cc V8 engine, this variant being known as the DBS V8. At the time, it was the fastest 4-seater production car in the world. The new model was fitted with light alloy wheels and ventilated brake discs. Automatic transmission was offered as an alternative to the ZF 5-speed manual gearbox. The DBS V8 was produced until May 1972, after which it was given a single headlamp front end and was renamed simply the Aston Martin V8. DBS V12. The new DBS is based on the DB9. Built on the V8 platform, the car shares its roof, side screens and wheelbase with a DB9, but sits lower and wider than the DB9. Visually, the front end is dominated by air scoops and cooling ducts, reminiscent of the DB9 race car, which help cool the 6-litre V12 engine which has reportedly been uprated to produce 510 bhp, 420 lb-ft of torque and a top speed of 191 miles per hour. The rear is equipped with a carbon fiber diffuser and an integrated rear lip spoiler. Other details include a 6-speed manual transmission and a removable stopwatch. A special helmet pod behind the driver's seat is present for Casino Royale but will not feature in the production version. Popular culture. The DBS was used by George Lazenby's James Bond in the 1969 film on Her Majesty's Secret Service. Unlike Bond's previous car, the Aston Martin DB5, no gadgets were seen in this car, other than a mounting for a telescopic sight rifle in the glove compartment. In the final scenes of the film, Bond's wife, Tracy, is shot and killed while sitting in the car. Another DBS also appears in a single scene in the next Bond film, Diamonds Are Forever. It can be seen in the background when Bond is talking to Q on the telephone. An Aston Martin DBS was later used in the short-lived TV series The Persuaders, in which Roger Moore's character Lord Brett Sinclair drove a distinctive Bahama yellow 6-cylinder DBS that, through the use of alloy wheels and different badges, had been made to look like the DBS V8 model. Supplied by Aston Martin to the show's producers, the car used the personalized number plate BS1, courtesy of the plate's real owner Billy Smart, Jr. Sold by the factory after filming ended, via H.R. Owen in London, to its first private owner. It was restored to a very high standard in recent years by the Aston Martin factory, and is presently owned by divorce lawyer and noted art collector Jeremy Leveson. Both Moore and co-star Tony Curtis have signed the underside of the car's boot, Moore at Pinewood Studios in May 2003. Curtis at Cheltenham Racecourse in October 2008. In 2013 the Aston Martin DBS was an invited participant at two of Europe's most exclusive motoring concours, the Concorso d'Eleganza Villa d'Est at Lake Como, and the Salon Privé Copyright Concours in London. The restoration of an original DBS, registration JRA 615H, rescued from a scrapyard, was featured in the first episode of Series 2 of the Channel 4 series For the Love of Cars, screened in April 2015. The process took over 6,000 man-hours. During restoration, it was upgraded to Vantage specification, and from an automatic to manual gearbox. It sold at auction for £150,000. See also, List of James Bond vehicles. References. External links, official Aston Martin site, Aston Martin Flash site.